The human body is amazingly resilient and highly adaptable. We live in every climate on the planet, from equatorial rainforests to the Arctic Circle. One reason for this is our bodies are capable of eating anything. Unlike many animals who are either herbivores or carnivores, we are omnivores. Our teeth have both small canines, incisors, and molars, and our jaws can chew in a circular motion, not just up and down like a carnivore. Our intestinal tract is also longer than a carnivore, but unlike strict herbivores, we have a very small appendix to store beneficial bacteria instead of multiple stomachs. We have the best of both worlds, and your body is awesome. We're also the only being on the planet that cooks our food. This gives us access to foods that could not be eaten otherwise. But let that sink in for a moment. We're the only species on this planet to cook our food. We're also one of the only species that's learned to grow our own food. This gives humans the widest spectrum of diet of any species on the planet. Let's take a closer look at this spectrum, as this diagram is key to our understanding. On the left end here, we have super high vibrational foods, then Immortalite, Fermented foods, sprouted foods, and Breatharians. These are people who do not eat or eat very little. How is that even possible? We'll get into that. The midpoint of the spectrum here are uncooked and raw foods. Then we get into the variety of healthy cooked diets, and at the far right, we even have non-food items. Think of things like leather shoes. People have survived on such things in tough times. These are the extremes of our scale. As you can see, the standard American diet is on the right side of our spectrum here. Just to the left of it is the beginning of healthier eating. Diets such as Atkins, blood type, calorie restriction, carnivore, ketogenic, macrobiotic, Mediterranean, paleo, pescatarian, plant-based, vegan, vegetarian, and whole food. And I know we're missing a few. These diets all begin by removing unhealthier items, mostly processed foods and sugars, and begin maximizing nutrition from certain sources. There is a clear focus on getting the diversity of nutrients into the body from quality and more natural sources. With the exception of salads, fresh fruit, and raw fish, all of these diets contain cooked foods. The majority of you watching here today are somewhere in this range, and that's great. It means you take your health seriously, and you're taking control. You recognize that what you put into your body has a direct effect on how you feel and how you perform. If you're on the far right end of the spectrum here, and this is the first time you've ever heard the word standard American diet, then a whole new world of well-being is about to open up to you. We're not here to promote any particular diet, but what is important to know is that when I say the words diet, I'm not talking about a 2-week weight loss fast or a juice cleanse or something short term. When I use the word diet, I'm talking about a lifestyle, a manner in which you eat every meal every day. It's not meant to confine you, it's meant to liberate you and help you feel your best. What's important to understand is that this is a spectrum, so you can know what is possible and you can get out of life what you want. In the middle of the spectrum here are raw plant-based living foods. These are unprocessed and uncooked foods. These foods are freshly picked and still alive. We're not talking about dehydrated, bottled, or packaged foods here, even if they're labeled as raw. These foods must still be alive. That is the key. Being alive means they have a living bioelectrical component flowing through them, which we will call Lifeforce. That is what puts this category in the middle of our spectrum. This is the beginning of foods that have Lifeforce and active enzymes in them. These foods contain just enough enzymes to essentially digest themselves. They have a 1-to-1 ratio of enzymes and Lifeforce. So this means digesting foods in the middle of the spectrum here has a minimal drain upon our body, because the enzymes within the foods do the work for our bodies. Living foods include things such as fruits, freshly picked salads, any vegetable in the produce section that's less than 3 days old, freshly made green juices, wheatgrass juice, fresh seaweeds and algae, flowers, and even microscopic sea plants and animals called zooplankton and phytoplankton. Whale food, essentially. If you ate this way every day from the moment you were born, you would never experience exhaustion, muscle and joint pain, sickness, or degenerative disease in your lifetime. The Hunza people and many of the Blue Zone centenarians live in this area of the spectrum. I think you're starting to see what this spectrum is measuring, and that is Lifeforce. Lifeforce is the key to allowing the body to regenerate. I really want you to hear this. Lifeforce is the underlying element that ties all of this together. And the more of it we put into our bodies, the longer we will live. This was expertly documented after 25 years of research and lab study by Dr. Howell, MD, and his team. In his book, Enzyme Nutrition, Dr. Howell demonstrated that no other factor is responsible for how long we live. It is only life force in the form of enzymes that correlates with the longevity of an organism. This is the key that all these diets on the right side of the spectrum are missing entirely. Cooking food removes its life force and the majority of enzymes. Did you catch that? Anything that is cooked is missing this key longevity factor. That means barely anyone is even tapping into their potential. We're going to dig deeper into this bioelectric life force and why it is the key, but let's continue up the spectrum to see what else is possible. Let's go past 100 years life expectancy. Next, we have the breatharian, or non-eater. Believe it or not, there are people who are living primarily off the life force in the sun, air, and the universal energy field all around us. Their lungs allow them to capture energy through breathing exercises. Sunlight can also be ingested through the cells on their skin. Mitochondria, the small powerhouses inside everyone's cells, have pigment molecules like cytochrome C that absorb light. Geneticists believe these mitochondria may be absorbing sunlight and using it to drive ATP synthesis. Essentially, this would mean photosynthesis of ATP from sunlight, similar to the way plants live. Amazing. What we do know is that these breatharians are foregoing the digestive system and bringing in life force from other sources. Indeed, life force is everywhere, and the cleaner our air, the more life force it contains. For this reason, these people often live out in nature. Although the majority of breatharians still eat a meal or two a week, Prahlad Jani, a Hindu monk who was monitored and studied for weeks by doctors and scientists, lived in a cave and did not eat for over 70 years. No food or water for 70 years. Who knew this was even possible? In this snippet from the documentary In the Beginning There Was Light, a team of doctors try to get to the bottom of this.
So Dr. Sudisha approached me regarding this Mataji. And for the medical science, this is not possible.
I was so hopeless to begin with that I thought that it would not continue for more than 24 hours. The project of Prahlad Jani or Mataji to prove that he is not taking anything. He is not taking food, not taking water, nor passing urine and not passing stool. This had to be proved only physically. You have to keep a watch on him and it could be proved.
So it was constantly observation under my supervision. All the security personnel was from the hospital side, and it was a camera observation.
I started my mind that he is cheating and this is not going to continue. So from day one only, I took all possible measures to see that he is not left alone for a moment. We went on changing the security, we went on changing the cameramen so that they cannot make any problem. We went on putting 2 cassettes simultaneously so that even while changing the cassettes, he may not pass urine. At the end of the project, our conclusion was, Mr. Prahlad Jani did not take anything orally, neither fluid, nor water, nor food during these 10 days of our project. Number 2, Mr. Prahlad Jani did not pass urine or stool during these 10 days, although we could see formation of urine in his bladder, which was reabsorbed from the bladder.
I was doing his sonography twice a day for 7 days, morning, evening. And there was ups and downs. One time it is a 400 ml, then 200 ml, 300 ml urine. But at the end of the study, gradually there was no urine in his urinary bladder. He was claiming that he is absorbing the urine in his body, which was difficult to explain as far as the science is concerned.
We did have a protocol which included complete blood count, ESR, renal function test, endocrinal test, liver function test, and all X-rays, including whole body CT scan.
The surprising part was all his organs were normal, morphologically. His chest was clear, kidneys, liver, spleen, everything was normal. Everything was normal and there was no even changes because of the age.
I mean, all possible things that could be done non-invisively in these hi-fi
corporate hospital with the help of so much involved consultants who are all, most of us are trained abroad also, and we were just scratching our head as to this, the greatest surprise that we saw in our lifetime so far.
Wow, right? It seems hard to believe for most of us, and the fact is that scientists do not fully understand how this is entirely possible. But regardless of whether we're fully understanding the exact dynamic working in this man's body to recycle his system, almost like a self-contained human terrarium, the takeaway here from these breatharians is that people can live healthily and for long periods of time without even eating. This is another important puzzle piece in our journey today. And now we go further. Beyond the breatharian, we have sprouted and fermented foods. We're now leaving the 1-to-1 ratio and entering anywhere from a 10-to-1 ratio of enzymes in Lifeforce to even higher. These foods are full of life force. This area of the spectrum includes sprouted grains, sprouted beans, sprouted peas, sprouted seeds, and nuts. These sprouts look pretty innocent, but remember, these are tree or plant eggs, and they're teeming with life. A seed is a storehouse for enough life force that, once activated by water, it can unleash an entire tree. If ingested, that same life force can be redirected into your own body. This area also contains unpasteurized fermented foods such as homemade sauerkrauts, pickled vegetables, and kimchi. It also contains fermented and sprouted seed and nut cheeses. These foods are loaded with beneficial bacteria, which produce enzymes, and for those living on the right side of the spectrum, it can give you a necessary boost and balance to your body. You'll notice the Blue Zone groups all had at least one fermented dish. I want to reiterate that these Blue Zone dishes are homemade and not store-bought. While pasteurizing food prolongs its shelf life, the heating process also kills the majority of useful bacteria and enzymes. So, pasteurization unfortunately changes these enzymatically active foods on the left side of our spectrum here and places them over onto the right side as essentially cooked foods. It's important to understand this when eating at this level. You'll need to be making these foods yourself. These fermented foods are also wild ferments without salt, rather than from starters. While this seems like a minor detail, wild ferments, especially without salt, deliver a bigger diversity of bacteria and enzymes and allow more nutrients to enter the cells. That's a big deal. We've included recipes for some of these foods in our Unconditionally Giving Foods ebook, which is in your kit. Go easy on these foods. As you can see on the scale here, they're quite powerful. They're also quite delicious, so I've got to reiterate to go easy on them, because you can easily eat enough to get yourself into some serious digestive trouble. Drink lots of water with these fermented foods, so your body can flush everything out as balance is restored. Our probiotic tincture in your kit accomplishes the same function as these fermented foods eaten in the Blue Zone groups. So we've done the work for you, and we've got you covered. And all you need is 5 drops a day. Next, we have our Immortalite Products. These go beyond sprouted and fermented foods and are packed with life force. So no matter where you are on your food journey, taking these products will infuse and elevate your body with life force and will take you towards regeneration. I really want to reiterate that. As you can see, this is a spectrum, and most of you all here today will be somewhere here on the right side. As you take these products, where will your body move? You'll be moving towards the middle, regardless of what diet you're eating. That's the beauty of this. We may be adding 5 years to your life just by doing this. But if you take it upon yourself to go further, to begin moving your own diet and lifestyle towards more living foods, we could be going beyond 20 or 30 years here. But adding these products alone, without you changing a thing, you will begin safely moving yourself towards regeneration. We've got you covered. You don't have to prepare anything, and these are small enough to travel. So how exciting is this? Last on the spectrum are extremely high vibrational foods. The life force on this area is like a hockey stick. It just goes straight up exponentially. If sprouted and fermented foods were like jalapenos, Immortality will be like habaneros, and this level is the ghost peppers. These are just off the chart. They have the same effect on the body as Immortalite products, however, they're just way too strong to be effectively used. Using these would be like trying to force water gushing out of a fire hose into a tiny straw. Your body would be that straw, and the fire hose would just be the level of life force. It's just not a pretty picture, and frankly, it's overkill. So, This Lifeforce spectrum here, what a spectrum, huh? It boggles the mind. Were you aware of all these different things that your body can eat? And I just want to be clear, each of these levels serve you in some capacity. Each of these levels has its function. But to step into regeneration and to head towards a long and active life, Lifeforce is the key. And that means working our way over to the left side of the spectrum. The 3 tinctures in your Immortalite kit and the stamina shot you had today will begin supplementing your diet with Lifeforce and moving you in this direction. The goal of this class is not to get everyone to become a Breatharian or a keto specialist or something like that. It's to take you from wherever you're at and to get more Lifeforce into you. These products have been carefully designed to work with your body wherever it is at on this spectrum and to elevate your body closer to the left side of the spectrum. When taken regularly, you'll be stepping into your very own blue zone. And that is the goal. I want to see little personal blue zones out there everywhere. So don't worry, you don't have to, trek for days on horseback up through the mountains of the Himalayas to find Shangri-La. It's sitting here, right now, in your hands. Now, let's get into all the reasons.
Immortalité.